So, gang, what up? What up? What up? I'm so glad that somebody's covering this because I wanted to do something on this a long time ago, and I'm about to change up my format and start sitting back and actually commenting on these things. Like I'm gonna go and break it down side by side. I've just been so busy with just life that I don't have the format, like I don't have the setup for it, but I'm about to get the setup for it pretty soon. So my podcast is gonna change. My page is gonna change. My review of this content is gonna change, and it's gonna get a lot more in depth for 2026. So yeah, this one was about the comment that Ari Lennox made about Martin being colorist. You know, I saw that shit. It was on social media like last month, a couple months ago, some shit like that. It made its rounds, and I see somebody finally decided to address it. And I just honestly, man, I think that women today who are unattractive hide behind the colorism thing because beautiful chocolate sisters are never single. You do not see, and when I say beautiful, I don't just mean physically attractive. I mean mentally, physically, spiritually attractive. Chocolate sisters are highly sought after. I think they're the most sought after in the community, to be honest. Light skin is a niche. Most black people are not light skinned. A lot of us have a mix to us. So we're a little lighter, especially now, right? But light skin, like that high bright, when you look at Gina versus Pam, most black women are closer to Pam than Gina. Gina, I'm from the South. Gina would be considered like a AKA. You know what I'm saying? She would be the light, bright, she would fit the archetype for the AKA. Pam would be more like a Delta, um, the Delta type, or just any of the other models, and maybe even an AKA because she was attractive. But let's listen to them talk, and I'm gonna chime in as it goes. All right, let's get it. Oh, and this gentleman, his show is oh my god, I can't remember the name. It'll come to me, and that's that's the crazy part about doing this. This is Fawcett Media, and this is the crazy part about doing this live and in one take because I'm just watching this for the first time, and I don't know how to do all the editing. I don't have all the material to do all the editing just yet. So my stuff is one take shit. All right, you're getting my live reaction, unfiltered. Let's go.
Full context and the sensitivity. And a lot of times they try to rewrite what happened with a modern day lens. A while back, Ari Lennox made a comment, Martin, the TV show Martin, and how his treatment of Pam equated to modern day colorism. Immediately, Tashina Arnold clapped back and shot that idea down. But this is the first time now that she's actually having the conversation in its full scope. And this is what she had to say. And this is on Dion Cole's Funny Knowing You podcast. Check it out.
Speaking of people that don't, I'm gonna get to Martin in a minute. But the people who think that TV is real life, I just came aware of something recently that was going on in the news about what's that singer's name? What's the person? No, what's
Ari
the
Lennox.
woman that said something? Is it Ari?
Ari
What did she say?
Lennox,
Something?
where the colorism thing, where she felt like Martin was bagging on me because I was brown skinned and because she was a brown skinned girl. And I have heard this story. Like I guess it was.
So it was more than Ari. It wasn't just Ari. Other people.
I think it was only Ari.
Oh,
Because now she gonna be
I'm not
Don't
being
like
mad. Shout out to
Dion.
Ari. No, I love Ari.
Don't
Shout out
laugh,
to
because I
Ari.
like her. I mean, I don't know her personally, but I like her music, and I met her one time when I was
Nah.
hosting Soul Train.
Yo, Dion made it worse. But he was thinking what we're all thinking.
The thing that pissed me off about Martin was how much he would go on Pam. Like, I know, like, and this is coming from a girl who I love me a good, like, joking ass movie. And even when the joking movie is like, damn, like, that was fucked up. Like, I'm not like too woke or something is what I'm trying to say. Like,
That's exactly what you are. You're too sensitive. You know what I'm saying? You're too sensitive. It's not woke. It's not about being aware. It's not about your level of cognition. You know, it's simply the fact that you're just highly sensitive. We live in a pussy ass generation. And the black women today are maybe the most sensitive group of people on the fucking planet, to where they can throw out all the insults, they can throw out all the pain, they can bring it to your doorstep, they can try to kill you. In the society we live in today, these women will try to murder you. And if you defend yourself, now you're the bad guy. Pam used to bring it to Martin, and Martin used to clap back. That was their whole dynamic throughout the entire show. Excuse me. Throughout that entire show, that was their whole dynamic. That's what it was. I mean, there was the episode that they ran. They they flirted with the idea of them dating. It was that was an episode. It was like a what if episode. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that was the running theme for the show. You know what I'm saying? It's like, she is your girl's annoying ass friend that you can't stand. That's always throwing salt on you, and they would love to see you two separate because she can't keep a man. That's who she was. But carry on.
I'm honestly not, I'm problematic. I'm pretty problematic, low key. But my point is that there are some things where I draw the line and it just bother me. Or like, I don't know. It's like Pam was so beautiful and so fine. And I just feel like growing up as a chocolate girl, like, I don't even know if I was able to understand the greatness of Pam because of the light that I feel like I was being fed. You know what I'm saying? Continue to speak my mind and happily y'all off in the process. If I had ill intent, I would have came on here with a PowerPoint presentation that backs my claims on the types of jokes Martin used on Pam being wildly offensive. That will never be my intent or motive. But I will stand on business forever knowing them jokes was wild. And I don't say any of this with any desire to rewrite history. Those actors and actresses are legends, and I meant no harm to them. I don't need any army of people defending me or agreeing with me. That has always been a rare occurrence for me. But I feel amazing in knowing that I will validate myself and my feelings before I look to you or yours. Sorry, there we go. This is why it's read. Sorry. I'm going to reread that part. But I feel amazing in knowing that I will validate myself and my feelings before I look to you for yours. I'm also aware that people have been called worse things by people they love and by their enemies. So maybe their experience with Martin was special and therapeutic and unique to them. I never was a fan of roasting, period, as I am a very sensitive and I will for sure drag somebody to hell every time. But we were just playing, right?
I understand completely. what what she said, and I get it. She did do a disclaimer saying that she is like a starter, I guess. Like, she does cause controversy. I get it, but we've already moved past that.
Dion Cole's reaction is classic. I mean, 'cause that's that. Yeah. Come on, man. Like, just say it. Just come on, man. She's a bitch. Come on, just say it, man. She over here. She's reaching. She's grasping at straws right now. She's making shit up. It's a terrible thing, and that's why Trishina. She's. I understand what she was trying. She has to keep changing it because she's trying to be politically correct. She's not trying to just cook this bitch. And that's the thing. We need more candid conversation. This is where things go wrong for me, where shit goes left. This is why I love Corey Holcomb. This is why when I called him riveting years ago, I don't think anybody had ever called him riveting before. But when I called him riveting, I think he heard that, he saw that somewhere. Somebody showed that and said, man, somebody called you riveting. You know what I'm saying? And he had to go find out what the fuck that meant. And to me, Corey Holcomb is riveting, and his show is a breath of fresh air because it's just honest. It's just candid conversation. It's just honest. You got D that will be honest. You have Craig that will be honest. You have Corey that will be honest. Back in the day, Zoe being the voice of reason, he was the one who was being more politically correct, and then it would take Corey. This was the brilliance of the show, was because the voice of reason would play off of Corey, and they would find a middle ground because one person was so politically correct but intelligent and able to articulate himself without just saying just too much bullshit. And if he went too far, left or too far liberal, Corey would come back in and just pound it down the middle like, nah, bruh, this is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And so you would find, and then D would be there, and you would get other people come in, like Craig would come in, or somebody else, all the other, Freeze and all the other guys would come in, and it would just kind of add levels to the conversation. And they would really be peeling the onion, and that's what to me was what made Corey Holcomb just riveting, was because you're not getting that level of conversation. And I'm gonna go over 5150 a lot because I am a huge fan of what the show does. I'm a huge fan of what the show does. And in this era of just political correctness that came in with Obama, Obama was Mr. Political Correct. And I feel like black bitches just took that shit and they took it to the next level. Homosexuals, black women, came and made a cabal and just turned into the political correct cabal to where you can't say shit. Jews, black women, LGBT, and a gang of others are all part of this cabal. But I'm going way off topic. I'm taking this thing deeper than it needs to go on this one. But all just to flesh it out and just to say, a lot of people are just overly sensitive in this politically correct era, and what that ultimately is a censorship. And you see who's always on the back end, who's always being targeted to be censored, is always a heterosexual black male. It's never a white man. It's never a Spanish man. It's never a Jewish man. It's never an Asian man. It's never any other type of person being targeted for politically correctness. Black women say the craziest shit. It's never anybody else. It's always, and the only time we talk about black women is when they just say something fucking outlandish and just stupid, and then we get chastised for trying to correct our sisters. We get chastised. We're always the bad guys. We're not allowed to be the men in the community and do any type of straightening. We're not allowed to straighten. And that's what men are supposed to do. Men are supposed to straighten. That's what we're supposed to do. And so, with this whole Ari Lennox thing and the way that they're handling it with kids' gloves when they need to just come back and just say, bitch, shut the fuck up. You just said some dumb shit. It's not true. You were 100% wrong. You need to shut the fuck up and just keep your opinions to yourself because you're not even articulate. You're not even articulate enough to speak on the topic. You stupid bitch. I'm gonna let him carry on.
Yeah.
And Martin never ever. So this is a little backstory. Pam was originally for a heavyset girl. So all the jokes on my audition were fat jokes. So I'm literally auditioning saying with fat jokes, right?
That would have never worked because Pam was bad. Pam wasn't nowhere close to a fat girl on that show. But I'm sure if it was, the modern day.
See, but that just shows you until you get that context, right? I hate to keep pausing it, but until you get that context, you don't even know that she's that skilled. What she just told you was that I was so skilled when I went into the interview that I took a role that was more for Monique than for me. It was more for like a sister off of like 227, or back in the day it was a lot of big mammy looking black women that was all over television. Pam was actually kind of rare because she had that role as the funny person, as comedy relief in a series as a sister that was attractive. But hey, there you go. I just learned that just now.
The modern day retelling of it would be somehow that, this Martin was fat phobic. Martin was my favorite TV show, by the way. I mean, like classic TV. If you haven't ever seen Martin, which I don't know how you're watching me if you haven't, make sure you go check it out. Just watch the whole thing, man.
They ended up changing it when I got the role, obviously, because that's when my body was banging. I was thin. I was like, yeah, what y'all doing with these jokes? Because what's happening? 'Cause I'm not getting fat. Like I'm not. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. So,
We need a script change.
And she was funny, man. That's the thing. People, they were so talented on that show. Everybody had like a real background, and they put some real actors, some top tier actors around Martin for that show.
So what happened was they ended up changing the jokes, but we were like when I tell you, if you were around on Martin days and on that set, all the funny really happened when those cameras weren't rolling. When I tell you we were cold, it was bad. Like the way we used to crack. So I used to be around a lot of gay men as well. So my reads and my cracks were
Quick.
quick. I was like, and it was bad. And it was vicious. Oh, it was bad. Like we used to crack to hurt you. I'm going to take you down. You're not going to say another joke for a whole week. I'm going to shut you up a whole week. So that's how it was. I mean, just we had a blast.
Yeah.
And so Martin and I.
And see, that's very important to talk about the context of how it is, because Ari wants it to be something that it's not. If somebody is in that moment and they literally describe it as they had a blast, they were having a blast, there's no way you can come back and then relitigate what they experienced and what it was and what they felt the true nature of that was, the relationship she had with Martin and how they bagged on each other, and I think that's interesting because people talk about it all the time, the culture of, as we would call it, Jonin, or roasting or snapping or bussing or whatever y'all call it, wherever you are regionally, that is Black American culture, and that can be an endearing situation where you comfortable enough to snap on each other. It shows love, and I think a lot of people miss that context whenever they talk about it.
And so Martin and I ended up, because he said something to me often, like when we weren't even working. I was like, and I cracked back at him, and he looked, and I was like, yeah, you didn't think oh yeah, I'm not just an actor, nigga. You got me all the way messed up. So they just started so the writers would see it. You know, he had a bunch of his boys around, you know, helping pump up the scripts and stuff and pump him up. And they just started incorporating. So it never, ever, ever came from a brown skin thing. It started when I really had BDBs in the back of my head.
BDB?
I didn't know I had pepper balls. I call them pepper balls. I don't know I had pepper balls in the back of my head. Cause like, yeah, you do your
BDB. Those are some of the best jokes in the world. But you know, yeah, there's a whole movement now. You know, you've got creators online who talk about this colorism issue as a specific niche. That is all they cover. And a lot of times what happens is they fixate so much on this idea that they missed the larger picture here. She's admitting she had some BDBs on one day and she got caught slipping and got roasted for it. And it got incorporated into the show, right? Because I'm 90% of the time when you see Pam on the show, she ain't had no BDB. She was looking good, you know? like it was not, and that's what I'm saying here. They don't make them like Tashina anymore. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that has a sense of humor that can give as good as she gets. You know what I'm saying?
and that's when I stopped perming my hair. My mom called it pepper balls. So I was like, damn. So that's when he got me, because he started cracking on the back. So they started incorporating anything he and I did off the set. It would be in the script.
Right.
And then, you know, once the cameras start rolling with him, you don't know what the hell's gonna come out of his mouth. So I just be waiting for it. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. So we would go back and forth. So it was out of love. It was out of that's what we did. It had nothing to do with color. Like even with Tisha.
It was the Black culture. We have a culture of the dozens. The dozens goes back to slavery, because slaves was moved into dozens and would be together in a dozen, roasting on one another as slaves. This is something that we have always done as Black Americans, and why we did it was because Massa did it to us. Oh, hey, Slewfoot. Hey, you big Slewfoot nigga, you da-da-da-da-da-da. You know, that's how they talk to us. And then eventually we pick up on it. Look at that old Slewfoot nigga. Da-da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? And then, oh, I know you ain't talking with your old waffle head ass. You know what I'm saying? That's where it came from. This is just our culture. And this is something that I've noticed that, like, you listen to continental Africans or Caribbeans, or you listen to anybody. Caribbeans not so much. To me, they don't have the same problems. They're a little thicker skinned. They are more inclined to African culture, but they're a little bit more thicker skinned than Africans. Africans are hypersensitive about everything that you fucking say. Like, we are just doing this. This is a term of endearment. When I first came back to America, when I first came back as a kid, because I was born here and then I lived abroad and then I came back, I was sensitive about people talking shit. I did not know nothing about this culture. I was like, whoa, why is he talking about me? Why are they talking about me? What did I do? What's going on? What's happening? I didn't know what the fuck. I didn't know how to take it myself, right? So I understand, others when they are, they take African booty scratcher, they take that shit to heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were like, oh my God, what? I don't scratch my booty. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they take that shit, they take that shit to heart. because nowhere else in the world do people Joan. Like nowhere else in the world do people roast, toast, Joan, the dozens, man, crack. Like nowhere else do people do that to one another. But Black American culture. That is unique to Black American culture. And it's we have a lot of people who are quote unquote tethers, and they're not used to it, or they weren't raised around Black people. And when that to me, my signaling, my radar goes up when I hear a Black person who's really sensitive, when I hear a Black person who talks about being bullied, when I hear a Black person who talks about being othered, when I hear a Black person who takes a real offense to being talked about. I'm looking. I'm usually, to me, that means one of a few things. You were not raised around traditional Black Americans. You aren't a a freedman. You aren't a foundational Black American, or you you grew up in a bubble. It's only a few things that signals to me when I see somebody who's like hypersensitive, because your average Black American is used to these things. They're not so sensitive. But young Black Americans who are post Obama, who came into adulthood post Obama, sadly, a lot of them are very sensitive. But I'm gonna let them continue, and we're gonna wrap this up.
People don't realize that reverse colorism happens as well.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And
Oh, really? That's interesting because a
Reverse colorism, do tell. Let's hear it.
lot of people don't talk about that.
I remember Tisha, she would cry sometimes. It would be so bad because we had a live studio audience.
Oh, yeah.
And the girls, the Black girls would come in, and they were there for Martin. And that was like this Def Comedy Jam and stuff. So it was that kind of crowd that would come to our shows. And they would laugh so hard, they would bang on the floor like you would hear. It was just crazy from the laughter of the audience.
Right.
And every time, the whole first season, every time Tisha would walk out, all you hear was,
Wow.
laugh at her jokes. Wow. They treated her horribly.
That's crazy.
That's what I was used to back in the day. I love that gave me some tinglies right there, because back in the day, y'all know what tinglies are. Y'all know what it is. So I'm not gonna expound on the tinglies, but it gave me some tinglies because back in the day, light-skinned Black folks were fighting for their life. Like we were not as indoctrinated as a people into whiteness, and that white is right and that lighter is better. We were not so much into that at that point. We were more into pro-African, pro-Black, natural hair. We were more at that point in time. We were closer to the 60s, 70s at that time than we are today. Today, I was born in the 80s. You got to think about it. If I was born in 85, that means 20 years prior, where it was the civil rights movement, right? My parents are 70-something years old, 72 years old, which means they were alive when? Before we had civil rights. If your parents are 60 years old, your parents were born at the point where we got rights as a people, my boy. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that shit fucking crazy? So I'm 40 years old. So 20 years prior to me, we just got rights. Now, Martin came out in the 90s. I was maybe 9 or 10 when Martin came out. So Martin comes out, we're 30 years removed from having rights. So that means that the pro-black movement and everything like that, like the big fros, the natural styles, the boombastic colorways, what was it? What's it called? The cross, was it cross colors, something like that? Like all of the African color garb, the African color hip hop fashion, that stuff was still big. That's the 90s. That's the prime era of that shit. That was when Fubu, For Us, By Us, Carl Kanai, all our black fashion, black styles, we were just coming into our own. That's like the mecca of black fly shit. Like everything we have today that's commercialized back then was coming out the streets. They weren't able to tell us how to dress, how to rock shit, how to wear our hair, how to do nothing. They weren't able to tell us nothing. I miss those days. But they examined it, they studied this stuff, they bottled it up, and they sell it to the whole world now. They've cut black people out of who the fuck we are. And people don't even know the way that they talk, the way that they walk, the way that they move, everything aspect of their clothing they wear ain't nothing but us. They don't even know. That's just emulation. But let's get it.
I was treated fine because, you would think there would be me because I'm going back and forth with him. But no, they did not want Martin having a girlfriend.
Wow.
She just
Oh, so yeah, it was multiple things. Like Tisha being the color she is, like that never gets talked about in the colorism debate. Yeah, it's just taken for granted that Tisha is supposed to be able to take these jokes and them coming there for Martin, getting dressed up, coming to Martin, and he's got a girlfriend on this show where they're obviously not going to like her. So there was multiple reasons to hate Gina. Plus, he always talked about Gina's high ass and all types of other stuff, man. He was always roasting Gina. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so I don't know how Ari then gets to, how she feels about things. Like that doesn't make sense at all. And a lot of these colorism channels, shout out to Shay Sade, she always gets on them. The colorism crybabies, as it were. Because, sure, there needs to be awareness to colorism as an issue, but when you make that your whole stance in life, when you start fixating on something, you start to see it in everything. It's very strange that there's blind spots a lot of times that you see in these arguments that are supposed to be somehow activist in nature and they're supposed to be uplifting in nature. But it really just becomes another way to ostracize other people. We could even go down to the whole colorism that goes on with men. It's usually women perpetrating on the men, obviously. The prototype is tall, dark, and handsome. You get the side of it that says, you have a woman that says she wants a dark-skinned man, and that's fine because that is her preference, right? But in the same breath, you get somebody saying how weak a light-skinned person is or how effeminate a light-skinned person is. That never gets talked about in these colorism conversations.
so happen to be light skinned.
Yeah.
The way we used to crap on Tisha about being light skinned, oh my God. It was bad. So we have jokes, but my relationship with that show was never ever, those jokes were never written from malice. It was written from who's got the best
Who's
joke.
got the best shit, right?
Never about colorism.
Never.
That's
good. That's good to know. Yeah, like I said, shout out to Ari, man.
Ari, we understand how you feel.
Yeah, we just want them to be sure.
It wasn't meant that. And so maybe, Ari, you need to talk to your friends and the people that you were around during that time.
Yes.
Who made you feel that way?
Yes.
Somebody, maybe in your family or friends, somebody may have done or said something to you which allowed you to look at things a little differently and not receive them in the spirit that they were given.
And also, any therapists out there, that would be a great area of study.
I was just about to say, psychotherapist. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna start saying that term a lot because I seen a brother that I follow say it. I don't know. I'm terrible with remembering people's names, but the brother mentioned it. He said there's therapy that basically masks the situation, and then you have, and that's mask with an S. So to my brothers and sisters that say maskus, you know what I'm saying? No, it's masked, okay? Which means it covers something up. It puts a Band-Aid on it versus actually addressing the underlying issue. And so what we need to start saying is psychotherapy. Because we need to crack your psychosis. We need to go into your delusion and figure out when you had the psychotic break with reality that made you see things the way that you see things, specifically that's away from reality. You understand? So there's therapy and then there's psychotherapy. A lot of black women are getting therapy. They're not getting a deep dive that goes in and shows them where they actually went left and works to correct that. And I don't think a lot of black women want psychotherapy in the first place, just because then they can't get away with all the things they get away with. It will hold them accountable. But I digress.
And expertise is dealing in issues of colorism, because there's obviously people who have complexes that are surrounding that topic, man. Very good interview. Like I said, suggest y'all go check it out on Dion Cole's YouTube channel. Tashina Arnold, man, a legend, Pam from Martin. Then the mother from Everybody Hates Chris. Like, she's got a career that goes even back to Little Shop of Horrors, like just so much talent. That I think that's what we miss in this day and age. Martin was one of the best sitcoms in history. And it's got to be ranked up there, especially coming from my generation. Like, what we were seeing, we had never seen anything like it. The incorporation of hip hop and sports and the cameos that came on the show, such an influential show. Like, Martin was so good. You had other shows imitating Martin's cadence of speech. I noticed that as a kid, and I was like, huh. Now to sell a joke, you have to sound like Martin on a TV show. I noticed that on The Fresh Prince. I noticed that on All That. And, Kenan, people started incorporating that because it was successful and it was seen as what it was. I feel like now, today, there is a nostalgia for it, but I don't know if these actors are getting their just due even still. Tashina Arnold, a long career. I wish her nothing but the best. So I don't know. Let's talk about it in the comments. It's not necessarily my place to make.
All right, guys. So that's the end of that video. I covered a lot of advanced topics on this one. I covered a lot of things that can go and get dissected, and that will get dissected. That will cover in future installments, and I will go in depth as to where a lot of this stuff came from and what created it as we see it, because I don't want to be like, what's that dude's name? FD the Signifier. I don't want to do videos like deep dives on the shit like that, because to me personally, what that does, when you go too deep into something, you that's when the political correctness comes to play. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's when you go too far left, because you do deep dive on something and you hyper fixate on it in isolation. You know what I'm saying? You don't cover it as it's coming. Like, to me, the best way, like with this, is in this video, for instance, is best to cover it as it's having a real life situation. it's best to kind of speak lightly on it. And enough times as you cover things as it's happening, people start to see it and they start to understand it and become aware. They get woke, quote unquote. They get woke to what the fuck is going on. And, that can never happen when you do something, when you cover something in isolation. And that's what a person who is trying to claim victim, or a person who is, trying to, that is trying to escape accountability, or trying to, create create a fire from smoke signals, or create smoke signals. When a person is trying to create something and make it and tailor that to their specific taste, or tailor the story like to articulate their version or their rendition, that's what happens. They have to hyper fixate on particular incidents, remove all of the caveats that were in the situation, and make it into their story. They have to frame it their exact way. And that is what the white media does. That is what feminist agenda does. That is what the Jews do. That is what everybody does to put the situation squarely in their favor, versus seeing a world perspective, having a bigger picture understanding of a connection of world history, a connection of the story, and calling it for what it is. And that, for me, that's not what I want to do ever. So with that, guys, I'm out. I got to get to work. You guys have a nice day. I hope you enjoy, and Happy New Year. Because 2026, if my channel doesn't get taken down or whatever, 2026 is going to be a great year. Peace and blessings.
Go call them.